Hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Ray Bradbury. All right, so we've done it. We've come to the end of the Cat's Pajamas stories, the collection Ray Bradbury published in 2004. Today's story, the final story in the collection, is The Completist, fittingly, which was written in 2003 and 2004 for this collection. If you're new to the channel, the way that this works is I do a brief synopsis of what happens in the stories, and then at the end just do a really brief analysis, tell you what I think of the story. Is it any good? Is it worth your time? Where does it stack up against the best of Ray Bradbury? All right then, so it is the summer of 1948 in the dining room of a ship crossing the Atlantic for Europe when a young couple sits down with an older man who says he's a lawyer from Schenectady, New York, and he continuously talks, is never letting them to get a word in edgewise. They learn soon that he is a collector of great books. He travels the world finding the best books and brings them home to his estate. His estate consists of 100 acres where visitors can come and ride around or walk around from yard to yard, where in each yard they'll find a building or a library, and each library contains the books, the knowledge of certain areas of the world, different countries, different regions where he has visited. As the dinner comes to an end, the man orders them all double brandies. Finally, he gets up and he says, "There's just one thing more, but I'd like to know." Before he walks away, he says, "Why did my 35-year-old son kill his wife, destroy his daughter, and hang himself?" The couple sits there in silence, alone, and then, sort of instinctively, without looking at each other, each decides that they must reach for their brandy and drink that now. All right, so it is the final story in the collection. It certainly has a feeling of finality, of conclusiveness. It feels like the last installment of a collection. However, it is a very dark note to end the collection on. So the man is a collector of knowledge. He travels the world collecting knowledge, information, but it turns out in these travels he cannot find the knowledge that he seeks, which is to explain the destruction of his family. It's unclear whether the destruction of his family by his son is a result of him having traveled the world and neglected the son and the family, or whether that happened first and now he travels the world for knowledge, looking for the knowledge to understand why things went wrong in his personal life. That is unclear. That is intentionally vague, left up to interpretation, and I like that about the story. Moving on, Bradbury, personally, he was a great lover of books and of libraries and spent numerous hours in both. He often said something to the effect that, how books you meet all these different people in books, and with books you could sort of travel the world and the universe and go anywhere. But at the same time, always being buried in a book, without a doubt, means that you're going to miss out on some of the things happening beyond the confines of the pages. So it's a balancing act between the knowledge gained and also the experiences lost. But I think undoubtedly they're both important. And for some people like us who can't necessarily travel the world, it's good to have books to give us that option. So it's very vague in that sense of the word. But I think it's a fitting conclusion to 2004's The Cat's Pajamas Stories, this collection here, which is now going back on the bookshelf. It was a hit or miss, up or down collection, some good ones, some bad ones. But I think this one, despite its vagueness and sort of brevity, it's a good story. It's not big on plot and character or any of that, but it leaves you with something to think about in the days and weeks ahead. And I was certainly going to be thinking about this one myself. I read a lot of books, but should I be getting out there more? What knowledge is there that no book can contain? That is the big question. And in the end, it's fitting that the passengers on this ship in this story were headed towards Paris, because the next collection we'll be looking at is called We'll Always Have Paris, which is right here below. So that's what's coming up next when Let's Talk Ray Bradbury returns. Probably not until next year, but we'll see. So please stand by for that. In the meantime, it's been fun experiencing and sharing Ray Bradbury's great works with you once again. We are now over 230 some odd short story reviews. Ultimately, I hope to read and review here each of the roughly 600 short stories written by the great Ray Bradbury. So I hope that you will subscribe and tune in and join me on that journey when it continues, probably in the beginning of 2025. So thank you, and I will see you again soon. In the meantime, enjoy a great book.